So in today's SSR Analysis video, I'm going to be taking a look at every single Pikkon in the game, and shout out to Animated Muscle for actually suggesting this video. So if you aren't following him already, I will leave his link in the comment section down below. And as always, I hope you guys are having a great day, and if you do enjoy today's video, consider leaving a like and subscribing if you are new. And I just want to quickly point this out straight away, that every single Pikkon apart from one on this list actually has a farmable super attack, and this is thanks to the Agility Super Strike Pikkon, who of course has the easiest time raising his own super attack, because of course it's the same card and it's the same typing. So when you're trying to feed it into the other ones, it will be a 50% chance when fully awakened, if I'm not mistaken. But I may take him all the way to his Super Strike Dokkan Awakening, maybe, I don't know. But I definitely will try to get his super attack to 10 as soon as I can. But let's go ahead and get started with the Agility Super Strike. His leader skill gives free key to Agility and STR types, and the thing about this leader skill in particular is that before all of the newer leads, this definitely could have been a very good leader skill, because of course it gave key especially to Agility types, which is the team that you'd most likely be using Pikkon as a lead for. But because he doesn't give a stat boost, it definitely has fallen off a bit. So when it comes to being a lead, he isn't necessarily the greatest. But moving on to his super attack, he causes huge damage and lowers attack. He has a 12 Q multiplier of 125%, so straight away, this man is just not going to be hitting hard at all, despite being able... Actually, that's a lie. He can get to super attack 15, but because he does have huge damage and a low 12 Q multiplier, his damage in comparison to the others is definitely going to be a bit underwhelming, especially because his main attack link is going to be Super Strike, which I would imagine he isn't going to share with too many units. But moving on to his passive skill, he gives a 15% attack boost to all allies when HP is 50% or above, so this is fairly decent, but in comparison to some of the other support units, it is a bit low. Granted, if you're just starting off and you don't have too many support units or just too many good agility type units, he will have a lot of value in your team, especially because he does lower attack. But when you compare just regular lowering attack to greatly lowering attack, there is definitely a massive difference, and it definitely is a shame that he does not have that. But I would imagine that when they made this unit, they didn't want to make all the super strikes too overpowered, so they did kind of numb him down a little. But I would imagine that if he was released today, he definitely would, be improved massively. But moving on to his link set, he has Gentleman, Cold Judgment, Bombardment, Shocking Speed, Experienced Fighters, Soul vs Soul, and Super Strike. So his best link there by far, or the most common one, is going to be Shocking Speed. And the thing about Shocking Speed on a mono agility team is that it's a very common link. So if you're trying to fit this Pikkon into your agility team, he is going to fit pretty well in that particular team. But keep in mind that it all comes down to what you have in your box. Units like Pikkon may have the most value out of your entire box because of what they provide to your team. For boxes like mine, he doesn't necessarily provide that much because I have other great options. So it definitely does come down to what you have in your box. But at face value, he is a bit underwhelming. I kind of expected him to greatly lower attack instead. I mean, it would have been great for a free card, of course. His passive skill isn't too bad either. The only thing that I can honestly criticize about the passive is that the percentage boost he gives isn't too high in comparison to the other support units, like I said before, and the fact that he does have a restriction. But the thing about a mono agility team is that you just have so many people that can tank that it doesn't even matter. And of course, if you take into account the fact that Pikkon can greatly lower attack, it just really doesn't matter overall. But the grind to max this guy out completely definitely is a hard one, and if you want to go all the way and get into super attack 15, it's going to be even worse. But yeah, still a decent unit nonetheless. He has fallen off, unfortunately, just because he doesn't provide as much as he used to, especially to that particular agility team. But like I said before, it definitely just comes down to what you have in your box. But now, moving on to the brand new STR Pikkon, his leader skill gives 2 key as well as a 50% stat boost to STR types. So straight away, brilliant leader skill. The only thing that I could honestly criticize about the leader skill is the fact that he only gives 2 key instead of 3, but it's still a great leader skill nonetheless. His super attack causes supreme damage and greatly lowers attack, the thing that the agility type should have had. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, he does have a farmable super attack, which is great. He has a 12 key multiplier of 140%, so far, so good. His passive skill gives him a 70% attack boost when, just all the time really, so there isn't a restriction on his passive skill. All enemies' defense goes down by 30%, and this is very similar to just lowering defense or greatly lowering defense. And the thing about lowering defense is that you can do a bit more damage, but it doesn't exactly make that much of a difference. So It's nice, don't get me wrong, it's there, so when he is on the field, he is going to be able to lower his defense, or the enemy's defense, which will allow you to hit that bit harder, but it's not going to make as much of a difference as I think they would have liked it to. But moving on to his link set, and this man Pikkon is legit justifying the odds. He is the first non-Saiyan unit to have the Prepared for Battle link, and if they carry on in this direction, it will definitely be a good sign of things to come, just because it will make certain units more relevant. For example, one of the reasons why Pikkon is actually as good as he is, and is potentially considered optimal, is because he has that particular link. It's crazy to see how one link just can change everything, because Shocking Speed is a relatively common link on a mono STR team, but Prepared for Battle is easily the main link. Actually, it's kind of shared between GT and Prepared for Battle, but of course Prepared for Battle is shared by the majority of the units on that particular team that you're going to be running. Moving on to the rest of his link set, he has Gentleman, Experienced Fighters, Shocking Speed, Cold Judgment, Otherworld Warriors, and Fierce Battle. Fierce Battle, big surprise, because, I mean, he technically did Dokkan Awaken with medals from a story event, but at the same time, he Dokkan Awakened with the Gogeta and Janemba medal, so that was smart in a way, because they could definitely do that with more events in the future, just giving units that awaken with certain medals from specific story events, and then just give them random medals from a Dokkan event to give them that Fierce Battle link, which is awesome. And I'm extremely happy with what Bandai is currently doing with the game, especially on Global. If they keep carrying on with these types of banners and just releasing units that are as good as these ones, and they aren't even Dokkan Fest, you have to take that into account. These units are just, you know, normal filler banners, if you can even call them that, and they are still incredible. They are better than a lot of Dokkan Fest, which is great. But of course, overall, Pikkon is an incredible unit. Like I mentioned before, he does have a farmable super attack. He has a pretty high defensive stat as well. So when you take into account ability system buffs and the leader skill buff that you're going to be getting from that double super save for Goku leader skill, and the fact that he can greatly lower attack as well, he is going to make a pretty decent tank. But overall, the only thing that I can honestly criticize is maybe the fact that he doesn't have too many attack links. Of course, his main one is going to be Fierce Battle. The Otherworld Warriors link definitely does have a bit of potential if they keep adding a few units to that. For example, they could Dokkan Awaken a new Golden Frieza and add him to that because of everything that is happening in the Universal Survival arc. But the point is, he is an incredible unit that was gifted from the start. The moment they gave him Prepared for Battle, it was just a massive surprise to anyone, and this is definitely one of the things that makes him such a good unit. But moving on to the TEQ Pikkon, and I still use this guy on my TEQ team over on JP just because I don't have too many good units, but he still has a lot of utility, of course. His leader skill gives 3 key as well as a 30% stat boost to TEQ and STR type, so in comparison to the previous one, I would say it's a bit worse just because realistically you're not going to be running a hybrid team with this Pikkon as your lead. So you're going to be using this Pikkon as a lead for your TEQ team the majority of the time. It's a lower stat boost, but he does give more key, but I would rather have the higher stat boost. I'd rather, like, in total, you'd get a 60% if you were running a double Pikkon lead versus the 100%, which is essentially equivalent to a hero or a villain lead. So his super attack causes supreme damage and greatly lowers attack. He has a 12 key multiplier of 130%, so far he is somewhat similar to the STR type. He does cause supreme damage and he does greatly lower attack. He does have a 12 key multiplier of 130% instead of 140, so in terms of damage he is definitely not going to be hitting as hard, but keep in mind that he does have a farmable super attack like the others, and his passive skill gives him 3 key and a 7,000 attack boost and a 3,000 defensive boost when facing one enemy, so the majority of the time you're going to be facing one enemy, so this restriction isn't exactly a problem. But the problem is, here's the real problem. The real problem is that he gets a flat out attack boost. The flat out defensive boost isn't exactly that bad, but the flat out attack boost definitely does knock down his potential just a bit. But keep in mind that when they released this card, I think what they had in mind was that he was going to be a unit that was going to, you know, just lower the attack of the enemy that you were fighting, so they didn't exactly take into account how hard he is going to hit. But granted, he is still relatively good at these things despite not being on the level of some of the other units. But again, he was never made to be one of the hardest hitters or to be one of the best tanks. He was there to just greatly lower that attack. And of course, if we move on to his link set, he has Gentleman, Brainiacs, Tough as Nails, Shocking Speed, Experienced Fighters, Rival Duo, and Fierce Battle. So for the most part, he does have the exact same links as the others. His main link is Shocking Speed. He does have Fierce Battle as well. So when it comes to attack, they are both very similar when it comes to attack links. but the other one definitely does have an advantage. He does have a percentage type passive. And of course, moving on to the final part of the video, in third place we have the agility type. To be honest, he was kind of at a disadvantage from the very start, and one of the reasons why is because he has a super strike, so he never really had an opportunity to awaken into a fierce battle unit. But in second place we have the TEQ type. That flat out attack beast honestly is one of the worst things that could have happened to him, and to be fair, his card was like that from the start, so they couldn't exactly change it. And of course, when it comes to his link set as well, he doesn't have that prepared for battle link, which definitely would have made a massive difference. His 12 key multiplier isn't as high as the STR types. His leader skill is also slightly worse. But of course, what this means is that the STR Pikkon is going to come in the #1 spot, and I think it was expected from the start, and one of the reasons why is because of that prepared for battle link. It honestly made a massive difference, and of course the percentage passive helped out massively as well. But yeah, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comment section down below if you pulled Pikkon and if you're going to farm a super attack. I hope you guys have a great day as always, and I will see you all in the next one.